Well, hello again, everyone. You are watching another edition of the Scooting Scholar Report. I am your humble host, Richard Lawrence. It's hard to believe it has been about a year since we last talked, but given all that has happened in the past week, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to rekindle our friendship. So, as we all know, Donald Trump is going to be the 45th President of the United States. However, Hillary Clinton actually did win the popular vote. This has caused some consternation, and because Trump won based on the Electoral College tally, there are a number of people out there who feel, I should say, that the Electoral College should be abolished. Now, I say maybe, maybe not. Let's examine it for a bit. Some say the Electoral College should be abolished because it is a vestige of slavery. And there is some truth to that. After all, one of the reasons the Electoral College, I'll put it this way, the Electoral College was created to help the smaller states offset some of their lower population versus the larger states. So the compromise was that the southern states, which had fewer land-owning white males than the northern states, would count their slaves as part of their population in order to boost their numbers, and therefore boost not only their electoral votes or their electoral electors, but also boost their representation in the House of Representatives. And that's why I have a problem with it, with people saying that it's a vestige of slavery. Well, if the Electoral College is a vestige of slavery, so is the way we count representatives in our House, in Congress. Nevertheless, that is the way it works. So for every one member of the House and Senate that you have in your state, you get one elector. California has 55 total members, 53 in the House and 2 in the Senate. Therefore, California gets 55 electors. So that, to me, is not really a good argument to blow up the Electoral College because it's a vestige of slavery. Now, others have said perhaps we should go to a system of, this is what some states have done, to where where states would give all of their electoral votes to the winner of the popular vote. Now, one of the problems with this thus far, as we can see, is that pretty much all of the states that have signed on to this pact are states which tend to vote Democrat in the first place. As far as I know, none, or at least only a small portion of the total states that have signed on to this pact come from states where Republicans have a majority of the vote, or the voters. So I'm not sure if that really would work. Perhaps it would. But there is a third way, which if we were to make changes to the Electoral College, I could see this as perhaps a compromise that would appease most people. And that is the way that Maine and Nebraska give their electoral votes. As you probably know from watching the endless hours on CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or wherever else you might consume your news, you know that the popular vote winner in each state wins all. It's a winner take all. They get all of the electoral votes. Now, one of the reasons why I want to see the Electoral College stay is that I do think, at least theoretically anyway, it forces a candidate to run a campaign that covers more of the country. Sure, in a state like California, where it's guaranteed that it's going to go Democratic, or a state like Texas, where it's pretty much guaranteed that it will go Republican, one really doesn't have to do much campaigning there. But definitely, as we saw from the numbers, there are states where it is very important in order to get out the vote. And that was one of the problems, is that in states such as Ohio and Wisconsin, the Clinton campaign didn't do as good of a job of getting their people out to vote. while the Trump campaign did a respectable job and, in fact, pretty much mirrored numbers from 4 years before. So, for instance, in Wisconsin, about 250,000 fewer Democrats came out to vote for Hillary Clinton than the previous election 4 years before. In Ohio, it was the same. About 500,000 fewer Democrats came out to vote than the previous election in 2012. And so, again, because of that winner-take-all system, the Trump campaign was able to get those electoral votes from those two states. But like I said, Nebraska and Maine use a slightly different system where it's not winner-take-all. It's where it's actually based on congressional district. So the way they work it is that if whomever wins the popular vote in the state, automatically 2 electors go into the winners column. But then the congressional districts, the vote is based on whoever wins each congressional district. So in Maine only has 2 congressional districts. One of those congressional districts went to the Clinton campaign, the other went to the Trump campaign. So overall, 3 votes went, because the Clinton campaign won the state of the state of Maine, 3 electoral votes went to Clinton, 1 went to Trump. In Nebraska, they have 5 electoral votes, 2 senators and 3 congressional districts. In this case, the Trump campaign won the popular vote, so they got 2 electoral votes there, and the Trump campaign won in each of the 3 congressional districts within the state for a total of 5. But I think that could be used nationwide. Now, obviously, I didn't look at totals for each and for all 535 congressional districts throughout the United States. But what I did do is I looked at some state numbers of who won the seat for each congressional district within the state. So for instance, in California, of the 53 congressional districts, 39 are held by Democrats, 14 are held by Republicans. So if we were to use that same formula of where the winner of the statewide election for president automatically receives 2 electors. California would have given 2 electors to Clinton, plus another 39 for a total of 41 electoral votes, while Donald Trump's campaign would have received the remaining 14 votes. Texas is sort of the opposite. Texas, again, like I said, Texas, the Trump campaign won Texas, so that's 2 electoral votes there. Plus, the state of Texas has 25 of their 36 seats in the House are held by Republicans. Therefore, it would be 27 electors for Donald Trump from Texas and 11 for Clinton. I looked at one other state, the state of Georgia, and if I remember correctly, the state of Georgia has 14 members in the House of Representatives. 10 are Republicans, 4 are Democrats. Trump won the state of Georgia, so that would be 2 electors there, plus 10 is 12, would be 12 for Trump and 4 for Clinton. But I think you can see how it would work, where whomever won, it wouldn't really be based on the representative. I was only using that as an example, but whichever candidate won the most number of votes in each congressional district, they would get the number of electoral votes from that particular district. And I think that could be a very fair way to elect the next president. Now, we still might run into the problem of not getting enough votes in total for a particular candidate, to where there still could be a discrepancy between the electoral vote count and the popular vote count. But again, my feeling is that we still need to maintain the Electoral College because at least it does, in a theoretical sense, force a candidate to campaign across as many states as possible instead of only one. And in fact, perhaps this would actually, going to a system like this, where we change it up just a little bit, would actually force candidates to work even harder because they wouldn't be able to just give up a whole state. They would actually work hard to win particular congressional districts. For instance, in California, when I looked at the results of this campaign, some places like Orange County and San Diego County, Riverside County, San Bernardino County, these are places that normally, well, especially Riverside, Orange, and San Bernardino County, these are counties which normally are usually vote for the Republican candidate. But in this case, they actually voted for, they actually went for the Democrat. So it's very possible that there might have been other congressional districts throughout the country which might have gone one way, that may have meant that while their state went one way, their congressional district totals might have reflected something different. And remember, it's not who wins by the widest margin, but who actually wins, who gets the votes. Sort of, imagine if we were playing a game, a best of three. I win the first game 17-0, you win the next two games 2-1. Who won the series? I outscored you 19-4, yet you won the best 2 out of 3. So yes, it is still a little problematic, and I can understand why people are a little upset over the Electoral College tally versus the popular vote. But unfortunately, those are the rules of the game, and we knew those rules going in. And so all I can hope now is that people will take a step back, reflect, perhaps propose changes for the future, but take a step back, reflect, and let's wait and see what happens with this new administration that will be coming in January, and see where they go. Hold their feet to the fire. If they don't do what's in the best interest of the country, then by all means, let's let them know how we feel. Anyway, I've got to scoot. I thank you so much for joining me once again. I hope to do this again next week. We'll see what else there is to talk about. But in the meantime, have a great week, and I will wish you an early Thanksgiving in preparation for the big day a week from now. See you later.